Chandigarh actually, because of various reasons we don't want to talk about right now. But Panchkula is, I think, perfectly fine.
Lovely. I think it's 9:30, so it's time for us to start. One of the good things that has happened with COVID is that we start right on dot, by the minute, by the second. So good morning, everyone. My name is Atul Khosla, and I am the founder and Pro-Vice Chancellor of Shulini University, located at Kasole Hills. Quick introduction to me. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur and a MBA from Bajaj Bombay. Post that, I spent 20 years in the corporate sector, largely working with a firm by the name of McKinsey and Company, which is one of the largest and most prestigious consulting firms in the world. 7 different countries I worked in, and around 6 to 7 years ago, the teaching bug hit me. My father is a teacher. He started and founded Shulini. So I decided not to make rich people richer anymore and get into teaching. I can tell you that I've never been happier in my life before. I have no money left, but there's no noble profession, no nothing more noble than teaching. I won't take much time. I would like to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Vivek Atray. Vivek is a very dear friend, a visiting professor at Shulini University, and also my mentor. You all would know that he's an ex-IAS officer, a TEDx speaker, but many of you might not know that Vivek is deep into meditation. And over the years that we've known each other, I've seen Vivek evolve as uh, I would say, as a human being. So today's session is going to be very exciting. It's our passion at Shulini to bring speakers like Vivek, our professors, in front of schools, and hopefully you'll all learn in the next 45 minutes. We're all in the business of learning, teachers and students all together. So I think with that introduction, I'm going to hand over to Paranjeet, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could excite all of us with your thoughts, we can then have Vivek after that. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. And in this lockdown period, I think we are going to have a maiden webinar where my teachers are going to get connected. And I wanted everyone to be just, geared up. They should not be taken, not geared up to come back again. So we wanted to have something like this. And then when we got this offer, and on the top of that, icing on the cake was Mr. Vivek Atray. And we said, okay, definitely we'll go in for this. And we look forward to a very interesting session. It's always been a pleasure to listen to Mr. Vivek Atray. And we look forward to have one such inspiring session today also. And thank you so much, the Scholastic and the university for getting this thing to us today morning. I welcome you all and I look forward to an encouraging session. Thank you.
Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atul Khosla, for that introduction. Very nicely done. And in fact, it's always a pleasure to be speaking at these webinars of Shulini University for various schools in the region. And I'm so delighted to be a visiting professor and advisor with Shulini as well. In fact, ma'am, Dr. Paramjeet Kaur, it is a pleasure to see you. And I think we met a couple of years or 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, when I visited Ludhiana a couple of times, spoke at the Ludhiana Management Association and again at your school. I recall very vividly. So it's very nice to meet like this, although it would have been nicer to meet in person, all of you. But this is the best we can do in these circumstances, and it has its advantages also. And Shulini University has brought these webinars to schools. I think it's a great idea also. I think more than 130 people have joined already. So that is a tribute to your school, and a lot of teachers, faculty have tuned in. I know what a brilliant school you have and very good performances all around. So I'm sure that once things improve, you will go back to normalcy. And for now, these webinars will continue. The topic for today is a very interesting one. It is finding success within. And right from the topic, you will understand that I will talk about the qualities which give us success and how we can be successful in life. So these are not only for the teachers, but also for the teachers to impart to the students when they talk to them. And of course, many of the teachers must be quite young, just starting out in their careers. Some of them may be senior, but I think these are applicable for all of us. And I took a voluntary retirement from IAS 2.5 years ago, when I realized that success is not actually about money, power, and fame. It's not about wealth. It is not about power. It is not about fame. And you may be the richest man in the world or the richest person in the world. You may be the most powerful man in the world. You may be the most famous person in the world, but still you may not be happy and successful in your mind, because there is something bothering us always when we are searching for material success. Now you will understand, all of you, that material success, when I say, I mean acquisitions, possession, property, wealth, these things which we chase after or mankind chases after often. I have also been Deputy Commissioner of Panchkula, and I know a lot of cases where we had to help the elderly people because the younger generation was not looking after them properly. And that is because they are property minded and wealth minded and materialistically minded. So there are things which we need to learn in our journey which will help us. That's why I started sharing these talks with people, with youth, with teachers, with lots of others. And now I have luckily 2 million views on YouTube. And these 2 million views mean that people are taking seriously what I'm saying. So I am very serious about what I say. So what I'm going to share with you are 10 success factors according to me, and also the true meaning of success. So as I said, the richest man, the most powerful man, and the most famous man in the world may not be the most happy or successful person according to me. We know the most powerful man in the world is the President of the United States, and he doesn't look happy these days. Of course, nobody is tension free with this virus having swept everything, but even as a personality doesn't really give that confidence of happiness. If you look at the richest man, it is Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and Bill Gates, who's number two now, looks much calmer and happier than Bezos. If you look at him, he's donating his wealth to charity. He's sorted in a way like the millennials will say that Bill Gates is sorted. That means that in his mind he's comfortable, he is calm, he's not lusting after wealth or anything else. Even Mr. Azim Premji, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Mr. Ratan Tata, if you look at these personalities from the Indian business field, all of them are people who have shown us the way that leadership in the industry or any other sector means that you have to be selfless, you have to be balanced, you don't have to be running after material acquisitions. You can see that. And all of them are donating, all of them are in their own way contributing to society, giving back. And they have always been like that. So the most powerful man and the richest man are not examples for us to follow. Then what about the most famous person? Now fame is most fleeting. Today you are famous, tomorrow you are not. Even Amitabh Bachchan is now, because of KBC, he is reviving his fame. But there is a time which comes when you have to retire, when fame is not what it used to be. Sachin Tendulkar has also had to give way to Virat Kohli. Tomorrow Virat Kohli will give way to someone else. So it is like that. So where is success coming from then? Success can come to a teacher of your school, all teachers, if they believe that success comes from within. And what is the meaning of success comes from within? It means that you are enjoying your journey. It means that each day you take as a kind of challenge to be happy and successful. Actually, success is happiness. And if happiness comes from within, it doesn't come from ice creams and mangoes and trips to Europe and whatever. It doesn't come from there, because these are fleeting and temporary. So happiness and success will come from within. And within, what does it mean? Let us take 10 success factors from within. The first one I would like to talk about is fearlessness. Fearlessness means that we are courageous, we are more than confident, we don't fear things. Now, all of us have some fears and worries. We are human beings. We will feel low at times. Even in a crisis like what is happening in the world, we will definitely feel worried. But can we minimize that fear? Those who are courageous people, they will succeed in life because they are able to take up whatever challenges come. They are able to blend their lives with multifarious activities. They don't feel scared. They are not always worried, where is my child? Has he reached home? That's okay. That's normal. But to over worry, to over stress, to be over scared, some people have that very timid kind of personality. I'll give a very simple example. Many people, they bolt the door at night and they're about to sleep, and then they think, did I bolt the door? Did I not bolt the door? And then again they go and bolt the door, or they check it. And maybe it happens 2 3 times in a night, or it may happen every night. So we are always somehow worried about something or the other, which need not really be worried about. How many times has your door been left open and people walked in through it in the middle of the night? It doesn't happen. So we have to really be calm in the mind. So fearlessness is the first quality. For youngsters, you can tell them that when you're starting out your career, you have to be strong in the mind, not looking for defeat and not worrying about failure. You're looking for victories, but you're also learning from failures. The second quality that I'd like to talk about is calmness. Calmness means that my mind is not restless, is not disturbed. So what happens in the daytime? We start in the morning with a hurry for everything that we have to do. We have to get to school at 8 o'clock. Let's say, I don't know your timing, but supposing we have to get to school at 8 o'clock, we have to rush and rush and rush because there is a commute to the school. There is breakfast to be made. There are tiffins to be made. There are maybe some copies to be picked up or whatever it is. A teacher's life is not easy in the morning. I can understand. So you start with that tension. And if we start with tension, then we are not eating breakfast properly. I have a quiz in many of my classes or sessions. I ask people, how much time did you take over breakfast today? And most of the time I get the answer about 1 to 2 minutes. Now, if we are having breakfast in 1 to 2 minutes, that means we are in a hurry. We are always running. Even dinner is eaten while watching the television. Arnab Goswami is our dinner companion. What is the point of inviting him to dinner? Switch him off. And what about lunch? Lunch is on the go in the school, wherever it is. So we are not really having our meals properly even. Calmness is something we need to practice. So Paramhansa Yogananda said, be calmly active and actively calm. And calmness comes from the mind. It is activeness has to be there, activity has to be there, but calm minds will help us. The third one, which I'd like to talk about in success, is creativity. Creative persons are more successful, not maybe in terms of wealth, but definitely in terms of inner peace and satisfaction. The creativity that gives you joy is something that you have painted, something that you have maybe in music, in writing, maybe in photography, but also in your work. If you are creative in your work, that means you are able to do things in a different way. I'll just for a minute talk about Shulini University. Shulini University's campus is creative. You have tree houses, you have little cafes, you have beautiful classrooms and gardens and flowers, and it looks like a creative campus, not a dull, boring campus at all. When students are there, it is throbbing with people, and creativity is something which comes naturally to such an environment. And therefore, the research focus of Shulini is also very, very laudable. And creativity brings research. So in your school, if you can impart this kind of creativity to the children, then you will be able to really get a good crop of students passing out from the school later. And this creativity means that apart from the syllabus, they get time to ideate, to imagine, to create, to explore, to be able to do new things in a different way. So I think this is a good point for me to break and ask Atul Khosla to please show the video of creativity, of research, which Aman, a student, has managed to achieve great heights in. Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. Wanted to bring in a small video of one of our students, Aman. Aman comes from Punjab, comes from a relatively lesser privileged family, was a bit of a trouble girl as she did her bachelor's and master's with us. Something changed in her PhD. As she moved into a PhD thesis, she moved into the realms of more creative thinking, ideating, and ended up working on discovering a molecule, a biomolecule, which when added to water, makes water 100% pure, pure for drinking, For this, Aman has been awarded the World Water Fellow. This is a fellowship awarded by a UN agency. More than 100,000 researchers across the world competed, and Aman won it as the #1 participant. Apart from that, Aman has won a 25 lakh award from Tata Trust and Lockheed Corporation. So it just shows when you bring in creativity into your work and you stretch and break the boundaries, what exciting work you can do. Who knows, one day this discovery might change the world. So I'm going to play a small video. Give me half a second, please, Vivek. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Atul. That is very exciting and inspiring, actually. So creativity is something that I was talking about. And the topic of today, finding success within, clearly shows that we have to search within for all the answers. So the fourth point I'd like to make, and we can be at any stage of our life, but we can always improve our communication skills. Communication is something which is really, really important in today's era. It could be an executive, it could be a teacher, it could be a student. Everyone has to work on their communication skills, their language, their emoting, the way they speak, the way they write. So writing skills are as important as spoken skills in any corporate or education environment. We know how you have to express yourself. And if you see an email which has mistakes, it gives a poor impression of the person who has written it. Or when they are speaking, there are some very common Indian errors also that Indians make. So it's a good idea to go through the list of common Indian errors on Google. That is one homework that the teachers can also do in these lockdown days. You can just see 80 to 90 common Indian errors are there. Let us try to improve our communication skills. Even if we are speaking in a regional language, it doesn't matter, Hindi, Punjabi, English, whatever it is, we have to be good communicators. And when you are on stage, we will do one day a session with you on public speaking skills. That public speaking skill is also very important, how you are calm and poised in class or on stage, wherever you are. The next point I'd like to talk about, the fifth one, is emotional intelligence. It is very important. It's a big subject. We can do a separate session sometime. But emotional intelligence is basically about being able to handle people and situations in a calm and balanced manner. There are so many activities and so many stresses which keep coming to us. If we are in an educational sector also, the MLA might call, the police person might come, a parent is crying, I mean, the child is crying and the parents are worried. Excuse me, whatever it is, we really have to work hard to maintain our calmness in such a situation. Emotional intelligence tells us who we need to say what to in front of whom. So we cannot scold somebody If someone junior is there, we can praise somebody in front of anyone. But when we say something harsh or strict, we have to be careful as who all is watching. These are little things in emotional intelligence which we have to pick up. The next point I'd like to talk about is people skills, which is a subset of emotional intelligence, but it's very, very important. Understanding that people are of different types. They are not like you always. They have different mindsets, different backgrounds, different families, different circumstances. Sometimes in today's era, and this is my favorite example, you are sitting at your desk, you did not even notice that the person next to you is today looking a little low, a little unwell, a little, sad. So why don't we notice such people, ask them, what is the problem? Are you okay? That concern for others. In this era of artificial intelligence, we have got absorbed into the virtual reality. We need to look around, have conversations. People skills mean that we are able to hold our own in a people environment. And whether we are in webinars or whether we are in physical proximity with people, we will have to be able to understand people more. And it's very, very important. The next point I'd like to talk about is anger management. You see, anger management is something which we take lightly at times. Many people lose their cool very frequently. And if you lose your cool very frequently, doctors will tell you that the cells of your body are not in good shape at that time. They are also agitated. Your mind is distressed and depressed. And if you are losing your control, that is even worse. If you are strict and firm, it's okay. But when you're losing control, not knowing what you're saying, sometimes damaged relationships occur only because you said something in a moment of anger. And for 10 years, you do not talk to that friend because you said something like that. So we regret things which we say in anger. We should not do so. We should try and be calmer. We should think twice before saying something loudly or harshly. We should be in control of our speech. It is difficult. Many people ask me this question, how we control our anger. And it is very difficult, I know. But if you can introspect at a time when you are cool, when you are about to sleep, maybe, or when you are in the morning, when you are calm, maybe going for a morning walk, if you do, that is the time to think that today or tomorrow, I am going to try and control my emotions a little bit. This particular two things which are not that important, I will try not to lose my cool over these. Maybe this particular thing which is more important, I cannot control myself for now, but at least two or three things you eliminate from your list of things which make you angry. It's very, very important to do so. The next point I'd like to take is balance. Now, balance is something which should come to us naturally, but life is about not obsessing too much about one thing and going overboard in one thing. Even overthinking. Overthinking is an ailment nowadays. People keep thinking and thinking of problems and how I will solve them and whatever, whatever. So sitting calmly and not overthinking is a great idea. And balance means that I am not working over working, I am not over relaxing, I am balancing my work and life. I'm giving enough time to my family, I'm giving enough time to my work, I'm giving enough time to myself. That means my physical fitness, my mental fitness, other things like that. And the next point is physical fitness and sports. Even at any stage of life, do not give up your physical fitness activities, because the more fit you are, the less will be your problems of stress. And you are really releasing endorphins when you are playing some badminton or going for a brisk walk or a jog or whatever you do. At any stage of life, do not give up that physical activity. Of course, there is a lot of physical activity that especially ladies have to do all day long. Men are normally sitting with their laptops and newspapers, but ladies are running a lot. But it is more important to also give time, at least half an hour every day, to physical activity, preferably outdoors. I am not a great fan of the gym, but if you have to go to the gym, it's fine. It's better than doing nothing. But outdoors is where the real action should be. Nowadays, in the lockdown, you can do it indoors, later outdoors. The next point I'd like to say, and two more points to go. One is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness means focusing on the present moment. When does success come? And when do we make any achievement? When we concentrate on something. When we are concentrating on writing a beautiful paper or we have concentrating on delivering a beautiful speech, or we have concentrated on doing some good project with the students, that is the time when we are actually achieving something which is brilliant. So that means that we focus on the present. We don't focus all the time on the future or the past. That means our mind is wandering. And mind wandering is actually an ailment nowadays. It is a kind of disease because our mind is always in the past or the future. Why did this person say something like that to me? What will I do day after tomorrow? What will I do when the lockdown opens? What will I do in this? But we have to think of the present. If I am in a class, I need to focus on the class. If I am eating my meal, I need to focus on the meal. You know that people, that scientists will tell you, doctors will tell you, focus on what you are eating, chew it properly. And when you're watching the television, your favorite show, watch the show and don't be distracted by other things. So one thing at a time, even if you're multifarious and multidimensional in your activities. And the last tip, which is very important, Atul mentioned it in the beginning, that is meditation. And it comes from within again. Meditation helps you to be all those earlier things which I talked about. All these other points will come if you meditate twice a day. Whatever calmness you see in me, and Atul keeps telling me, I think it has only come from meditation. I am a Scorpio by sun sign, and I used to lose my temper, and now I don't. I don't know how I've changed. I will lose my temper only once in 6 months, I guess, and that used to be once in maybe once a day. So it is something which I think we need to work on meditation. Meditation means that you are concentrating on God. And if you are not concentrating on God, at least you're concentrating on the truth or some higher power or something like that. So you sit down 10 minutes a day, morning, evening, do your jap or do your prayers, whatever you have to do. That is important. But sometimes just sit calmly, not doing anything, just meditating on God or focus on happiness, focus on calmness at that time. There are many meditation techniques. I follow Kriya Yoga. I follow Paramahansa Yogananda. His book is The Autobiography of a Yogi. And it is a great famous book which I have learned a lot from. It is a global bestseller. It is not a religious book. It is a spiritual book. It is for everybody. And I follow the teachings of Yogananda ji, and he died in 1952. But his teachings are so wonderful. Sholini University also has a Yogananda library on the campus. It's a beautiful library. I think these are 10 skills which I have mentioned to you. These are skills out of 52 skills which I've mentioned in this book of mine. And this book is called Finding Success Within. This is the book Finding Success Within, 52 Life Skills for Young People. And this is a book which I have written recently. It has been published. It is something which I feel very strongly about. People keep looking for success and happiness outdoors, outside, externally. They don't know where actually success and happiness lies. So we have to win the battle within. And let me also compare it with the battle of Kurukshetra. Mahabharata is coming on TV nowadays. The thing is that Kurukshetra is being fought within us. Every day it is positivity versus negativity within. And that is something which is very common. I mean, our own negatives and our own positives are fighting the battle of Kurukshetra in our mind every day. We have to win that battle. We have to, maybe we are not perfect. Nobody is perfect, but we have to try to improve. If we are deteriorating, then it is worse. So I've been talking to people that during this lockdown, are you trying to improve yourself? Will you come back the same as you were earlier? Or will you come back worse? Or will you come back better? So come back to the world after this period a better person in terms of maybe having read a couple of extra books, maybe learned a new skill, maybe learned to control your anger and your temperament. Maybe you learned how to solve problems. Maybe you learned how to be emotionally intelligent. So there are various ways in which to improve your lives, make them better, be more successful. And I'm going to close with an example, a story. And this story is just to inspire you. It is the story of Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev is from Chandigarh. I grew up watching him, and I also used to play at the stadium. Kapil Dev was an individual who worked extra hard. He was very fit and he was very athletic, no doubt. But when we saw him as youngsters, we would see that after the match, after having played the whole day, he would be jogging and running 5 rounds after that. And he would be sprinting, he would be practicing his bowling. There are so many things to learn from a man who works extra hard. And then his natural ability. People have natural ability, but they don't exploit it enough to the positive extent. Kapil Dev is a world champion. We are proud of him, and that's an example for us to follow. And he didn't know English. He could speak only in Hindi or Punjabi. And today you see him, he can speak with boys. Recently, somebody from across the border said something, and a sports person, and Kapil Dev counteracted with brilliant words. And I'm in touch with him. I'm very proud to be in communication with Kapil Dev, and he is a great person to be inspired by. Even someone like Harbhajan Singh, who's from Jalandhar. Harbhajan Singh, I see nowadays, you look how calm he is and how he used to be so rash at times, or we've seen him on the pitch also being overexcited. But nowadays, of course, he got married also. That also helps to become calm. But otherwise, also, he's a calmer person. His communication skills have improved. He's doing commentary in English. And he also says he didn't know a word of English. So we keep improving in whatever way we can. So these were my thoughts on finding success within. I'm going to hand over to Atul Khosla to show a beautiful video of Shulini University, and then we'll take some questions.
Thank you, Vivek. What a wonderful talk.
Thank you.
As you were talking, I was just thinking about my days in school. I also wanted to add that I wanted to thank you, all of you teachers and your school, because my father is an alumnus of your school, ma'am. And I was speaking to him in the morning, and he said that a lot that he's done today is because of the great education he got. And I think that's the beauty of great schools. And that's the beauty of young people. Young people, when given the right education, they can create magic. So I think the context of that, I have a small video to show, which is the motto for Shulini University, which is to say, what can we do with these young world beaters? So give me a second, let me play this out, and we'll then do a Q&A with Vivek.
Throughout history, the young have always been the ones to shape the future. And they continue to do so today. You are the country's biggest asset, our best bet to conquer the future. So what are you waiting for? Your time to dream is now. Dream of the research that can change the world. Dream of a high-flying corporate career. Dream of higher studies in the world's best universities. Dream of developing cutting-edge technology of the future. Dream of your own global startup. Shulini University, we empower you and enable you to chase your dreams and change the world. Shulini University, think learning, think success.
Vivek, I think before we get into the Q&A, I had one question for you.
Sure, Atul.
if ma'am allows. Uh, there's so much pressure on teachers nowadays. In fact, I wrote a small blog on that, Vivek. You know, as a teacher, you're taking care of the house, and many of us, I think many of our fellow teachers are ladies. They're taking of the care of the home, they're taking care of children, they're taking care of the pets, they're taking care of pretty much everything. And then they have to teach because teaching is happening, it's happening online. So, what is your 2 cents to the teachers? How should they maintain their mental stress? How should they maintain the calmness in this very, very stressed time?
Yeah, so Atul, I actually have 3 cents today, and one is that they have to basically prioritize, and prioritization means give more time to things which are more important, less time to things which are not that important, but give time to enjoyment and entertainment also. The second point is that practice of calmness, which I said, because you have to do so many things. If your mind is disturbed, you will not be able to do them effectively, you lose your temper, you will be rushed. So practice calmness offline. Remind yourself 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the day. Remind yourself, I have to be calm. Put a sticker on your mirror. You go and I think ladies look at the mirror more than men do. Whenever you see the mirror, see over there, be calm. The third thing I'd like to say is that try and just see deep breathing helps us. So we are actually breathing in a shallow way. So if you practice deep breathing or yoga in the morning, it actually helps you in the day to be more healthy, more physically active. So double breathing, deep breathing, these are things which you can also practice.
Excellent. We have a few questions. Let's sort of get into them, Vivek.
Yeah.
I'll also request the audience to please keep asking questions. You can do that over chat or you can do it over the Q&A. So Viva1818, sorry, don't know your name, is asking, and it's a great question, Vivek, how can you make our students fearless so they can take the risks when they grow up? Will that not also be great for the startup environment of the country? What are your tips for educators?
Yeah. I saw the question. It's a brilliant question. And whoever is Vivo1818 principal ma'am will find us the name later. We'll give the best question award maybe. But the point is that students have to take risks, yes. However, students have to have a firm foundation of skills. If they have skills and their foundation is deep and wide and well rooted, then taking risks becomes easier. So taking risks means if they are to contribute to the startup sector, there are three factors involved. One is a great idea. The second is support. And the third is that risk-taking ability. So risk-taking ability means that we are not fearful people. We are fearless in that sense. We have faith in our ability. So try and impart faith in their own ability to the students. Tell them that it's okay to go wrong. Keep telling them that, and somewhere we'll get the results.
So I'd like to add to that, Vivek,
Sure.
just as a quick background. I've been an entrepreneur 3 times over, including once in Switzerland where I moved over to start a company. I think there are 3 things that you teachers or you schools can do. First is sessions like these. Many times we think that learning our books or learning from curriculum is very important. But inspiration is actually one of the most critical things when it comes to doing new things, becoming an entrepreneur. My life changed when I heard a session by Arun Shauri at IIT Kanpur, and it changed my life. So sessions like these can make tremendous difference to people. They can suddenly, the spark can light. So that's one. I think the second thing is to expose students to role models or examples of success. The more such examples they'll have, the more confidence they'll have, especially if there are people who've been successful from modest backgrounds who did amazing things. Kapil Dev is an example. I don't know whether you can get Kapil Dev to come and speak to your students. And the third, like Vivek rightly said, is a very sound knowledge and the confidence to succeed. So I think with these 3 things, there is no reason why we can't have many, many more entrepreneurs in the country. Unfortunately, despite everything that we hear, India is not a startup country. India is still a country of people who want to work in MNCs or they want to be employed rather than be generators of employees themselves. So let's change that. I think schools like you, ma'am, can really make a difference. But we'll have to every day coach our students, whoever is interested to be an entrepreneur, and coach them in a positive way. Vivek, there was one question on where can you get the Yogananda autobiography of the yogi book from?
Yeah, that is available online. In fact, it's also available on Kindle, and you can order it through the YSS website. In fact, just to add, you can also order my book, Finding Success Within, online, and that is also available. I have seen a couple of questions, Atul. Should I just
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead,
one
Vivek.
question, Shalu Chopra is asking that how can we overcome anxiety and worriedness, like if someone is overscared or overthinks? See, as I said, meditation helps you morning and evening. If you do that, that will definitely help you. Second, make a list of things which make you scared and worried. If the list is about 6 things or 7 things, eliminate 3 of them by telling yourself determinedly that these 3 don't matter. They are not so deep or bad that I need to spend time worrying over them. Maybe the top 3 can remain with you and let them remain with you for a while. That's okay. But eliminate some of them. And that will by and by actually work on your fear factor when you are calm. At the time when you are scared, it's very difficult to work on it. So when you are calm and okay, at that time, think about it. The next, Harpreet is asking how to keep self-motivated. Actually, Harpreet, motivation has to come from within. And every time in the morning when you wake up, you should be with new energy, enthusiasm, wanting to go to school, wanting to do work. And at night, if you're feeling tired, read something nice. Don't watch the TV news just before going to bed. Watch it much before and just shut them up. And don't see anything negative. Don't watch anything, listen to anyone who's talking a negative way. Try and change the topic. So that's how you keep motivated, always thinking positively as far as you can.
So Vivek, when you said shut them up, you want to shut up the TVs or you want to
Switch
shut
off
up one
the-
particular anchor?
You switch off the television, whichever anchor is talking loud. Okay, then Sunil Chadda is saying books to motivate the students. I think 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a great book. Stephen Covey. You can even read autobiographies. They really, really motivate. Dalai Lama's autobiography, Usain Bolt's autobiography, autobiography of a yogi, I already said. And of course, you can read Finding Success Within also. There are
I've been very inspired, Vivek, with Mahatma Gandhi's
Oh
autobiography
yes,
that I'm reading
absolutely. That
nowadays.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
My
yeah,
Experiments to Truth. That's absolutely amazing.
absolutely. We're getting a lot of questions. One is about emotional intelligence from a young age. See, you'll find that some children are always more balanced in their personalities than others. And it is often found, I don't know which one of you is elder in the family, but the eldermost child is normally more emotional intelligence is there because parents treat that child a little differently. The younger one is normally, cool and calm and just gung ho types. But even being gung ho or cool and calm is good. So emotional intelligence from a young age is basically teaching them how to speak to the elders, how to speak to younger people, little children, and how not to lose temper. So we try and tell them that. One I've got something on how to bring back sincerity in the teaching profession. It's a great point. Teaching profession, 2 things which I think I've been director education also. Another thing is to attract the best talent to teaching, and that is by glamorizing teaching. That means making it one of the sought after teaching professions. People want to be various things, but nobody wants to be a teacher if you ask youngsters. So it is very important to make teaching more respectable, better salaries, and government as well as private sector institutions will have to work together. Atul will have a lot of ideas on that also, but maybe I can just rush through a couple of more questions.
And there's
How
some
to
questions on the
maintain
chat
balance?
also, Vivek,
Yeah.
on the chat. So you might
Yeah,
want
on
to
the
pick
chat
them up.
also. How to maintain balance when we are in a race of multitasking? You have to prioritize. That means time management, more importance and more time to be given to the top 2 or 3 things. There is an 80-20 rule, which is known as Pareto's principle, which means that you do those things first and most that are more important, which will give more results. And the rest of it you leave for the also rans. How do we control overthinking? It is very difficult nowadays to control overthinking. Switch off your smartphone for a while, firstly. Distance yourself from your phone, maybe 2 hours a day at least. Just leave it aside somewhere when ma'am is not likely to call you at that time. and control overthinking also by meditating, by talking to people who are calmer. Spend time with that very good friend on the phone, maybe, who makes you feel better and calmer. Not that friend who keeps worrying you more, talks negatively. Don't talk to that person much. Speaking in English means good communication skill? No. Anonymous attendees asking this. So, no, I don't think so. English, Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu, anything you speak well is good. And I have seen people speaking chaste Hindi and no word of English, and they are brilliant communicators. How can one improve on
I
meditation?
would like to make a
Sure,
small
Atul.
comment on
Yeah, yeah.
communication skills, Vivek.
Yeah.
Many times when I work with our students who come, many of them come from rural backgrounds or smaller towns. They'll say, "Sir, when you do group discussions, we can't really communicate because we don't know how to speak English." So we did a bunch of experiments last year where we said, "Okay, you don't have to speak in English. Why don't you speak in any language that you're comfortable with?" The interesting thing was that the good communicators could speak in any language, Hindi or English, and the bad communicators could not even speak in their mother tongue. So I think it's so much about practice, it's so much about clarity of thinking. And I can only give you one of my examples, which I spoke yesterday, Vivek. I would stammer when
Yeah.
till I went started working. When I went to till I went to IIT Kanpur, I couldn't speak a word of English. Uh, for the next 7 years after I started working, I spoke to a camera every day for 7 years to learn how to speak. I don't think I'm as good as Vivek, but I've learned to keep poise. I can keep an audience with me. And I think it's so much about practice. So I think we have to make our students practice. So one small tip for all of you, we are in the age of online education right now. Make your students record 1 to 2 minute clips on what they've learned for the day and ask them to send them back to you. It's an amazing tool for them to learn how to speak because they'll practice it 5 to 10 times before they actually record it in the camera. I'll also encourage all of you as teachers to actually practice speaking in front of the camera because you're all actors now. In fact, I believe the biggest corona warriors in today's age are the teachers. Not a single day of learning has got lost because of all of you teachers. It's an amazing revolution that has happened, ma'am. And unfortunately, the media has not picked it up. No one is speaking about the amazing work that teachers are doing. They're doing amazing amount of multitasking. I'll give a small example, Vivek. I was speaking to my security guard at Shulani, and I
Yeah.
asked him, "How's your little son in your village?" He said, "कि sir, बच्चे के पास तो time ही नहीं है. वो सारा का सारा time online learning कर रहा है." तो एक छोटा सा बच्चा विलेज में भी सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का आज ऑनलाइन कर रहा है. ये रेवोल्यूशन हो रहा है हमारे कंट्री में और आप कर रहे हैं ये रेवोल्यूशन. So be very proud of it, but please do it sincerely. Remember that you are being recorded. Remember that you have the opportunity to become the Shah Rukh Khans and the Madhuri Dixits that you always wanted to be. So maintain the decorum, maintain the etiquette, and we can probably do one lecture, if ma'am permits, at some point of time on how do you give great online lectures. Sorry, I got a bit passionate about this. Over to you, Vivek.
I think, Atul, you speak so well, and it's a pleasure. We have a mutual admiration society anyway. But I think we have about 25 more questions. What I would suggest is I take a few of them now. And if somebody can just copy them from maybe Kamalji or Shikha ma'am, so somebody can, and we can answer them offline later. I don't have a deadline, but I believe the deadline is 10:30. Is that right, Atul?
That's right. I think
So
I'm
maybe
sure
I
everyone
can,
needs to go back to work. So we can
yeah,
take, I think, 3, 4 of them.
3 or 4
And
I'll take, and the rest can be
that's right.
communicated. I think your teachers are asking brilliant questions. I can see them on the screen. So one question I'm taking is, in order to create work-life balance, stress amounts which leads to anger, what to do? Yes, stress is something which is a great killer. It is a great enemy. And stress again comes from within. It doesn't come from outside. If you look at two people in the same situation, one is stressed out and one is cool. Same situations, same everything, same factors involved. That means that I'm losing the battle within. So my stress has to be tackled by firstly physical fitness, secondly meditation, thirdly making a determined effort that next time this particular things happens, I will not give in to stress. That will lead to anger otherwise, and you have to be calm. How can one improve on meditation? There is a lot of material available online. The website that I follow, I'll just type it out for you somewhere. And so you can, just follow this yssofindia.org if somebody can type out. Yeah, I found it here.
I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I found it. I'll just do it. .org. Yeah. yssofindia.org are just on the chat. This is a website which helps you to learn meditation tips. You can follow any path, but this is one of them. Okay, how can we contribute to settle the anxiety and aggression of kindergarten kids? Ma'am, you'll be surprised to know that my wife also runs a school for toddlers, a little school in Panchkula. And she often tells me that those kids who are aggressive, if we call the parents, those parents are stressed out. Those parents have long hours, or they are unfortunately not seeing eye to eye with each other. So children pick up the aggression of their parents. And if children are aggressive in school, you have to call the parents and counsel them. The child is too young to learn otherwise, because he sees that aggression in the family. How to express new ideas for smooth implementation. This is a little complicated, but what I can see is that basically, if you're trying to implement new ideas, you have to take the team along, and you have to give personal counsel to people that this is what you want, this is your idea. Communication should be clear. Then they will understand what the new idea is. Another one is that we've already done this one. I think I'll take two more. Risk during education. Okay. Then we got something. How to control anger in kids. I think I just answered aggression. So we can, how to guide hyperactive children. Well, you have to make them do a lot of physical exercise. I have seen that children who play outdoors, they will sleep on time. Their hyperactivity will be less. They will be physically tired. Otherwise, children are not physically tired. Their mind is overactive, and they are too much at times to handle. How can we inspire students for sports? This is a question which is close to my heart. I'm very happy to read this question. Neetu ma'am is asking. She must be the sports teacher. I don't know. But the point is that if children are into sports, their personalities are more balanced. Sports teaches us how to win, how to lose. When you win, you don't become overexcited. When you lose, you don't become overdepressed. So if they are into sports, they will become better human beings also. So get them into football, hockey, cricket, tennis, badminton, one thing. And parents have to be counseled also. Parents think that sports is not important. It is more important to learn, whatever skills they're making them learn after school hours, computers, this, that. There are things that can happen later. So sports is more important. I think, Atul, we'll have to pause.
We'll pause. There's one question which I like to pick up, which is, how do you get respect? How do you bring more respect to teachers? And my point of view is actually very different here. I think the onus lies on us. We need to bring that respect back on each one of us. If we are role models, if we do well, if we are always in front of our students in the right way, the respect will come. I remember some role models I have from school, and you always give examples of one of your teachers, Vivek, and we just remember them for our lives. We can do anything for the teachers we love. So I would say, which I was indicating, that, as you get into even online lectures, take them very seriously. Every time you're in front of the camera, you're being seen, you're being recorded. The same thing every time you're in front of your students, in front of parents, they're making an impression of you. So just make sure that you are putting yourself in the right position at the right time, at the right place every time. And that's the only way, I believe. Of course, as a society, things will change. I also believe that with this online revolution, Vivek, teachers will get much, much more importance going forward. So there might be a role reversal. There might be some stars coming out of you, becoming out of you, just because of technology coming into place. So I think we're coming to an end. Vivek, thank you very, very much for an amazing, amazing session. I think so many questions. I mean, what an amazing school, ma'am. I can tell you there are schools where teachers are afraid to ask questions in front of the principal. So this has to be you, Paranjit, man, that your staff is so enthusiastic and so open to asking questions. So hats off to you, hats off to the school, the teachers, everyone who participated. I'm getting goose pimples leaving this discussion because it was so enriching. Of course, Vivek is always great, but I think the discussion was absolutely fantastic. So once again, thank you. I think before we close for the day, I'll request Paramjit ma'am to possibly say a couple of words. If Kamal, you're there, can you unmute Paramjit ma'am? Or ma'am, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, sure. Please, ma'am, over to you.
Okay. It was an amazing session. Thank you so much, Mr. Vivek. And we've noted down all the points. We are going to share these points not only with the teachers who couldn't attend this, but also with the parents. They're so good. We'll share it with the parents as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Atul Khosla was equally good. I totally agree with you that teachers are themselves responsible for getting the glory back to them. So it depends on the teachers how they treat themselves, and obviously the glory, the success, admiration will follow. And thank you all. Thank you, Shulini University. It's been a great session. We've just loved it, loved being a part of it. And there's so many good takeaways that we'll remember. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And hopefully we'll get over the coronavirus very soon.
Yeah.
And we'll all can travel. And once that happens, we'd love to invite your teachers for an offsite at Shulini. It'll be absolutely wonderful to host you out here. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you all. All the best.